Sports Scope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there, for $5 a month, 17 cents a day. You can help support the program. You ask yourself, why Sports Scope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is Sports Scope, again spelled the same way, or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is sportsscope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Okay, now we're live here on All Links, everybody, on this 5th day of October. You know, this day back in 1995, there's a big hurricane cleanup down in Fort Myers area. Going to have Mike Westhoff on probably in a few weeks, probably 2 weeks. Give me some time to finish his book. Really good book called Figure It Out by the New York Jets special teams coach, Miami Dolphins, and what so have you, Mike Westhoff. But this day, back in 1995, I was in a hurricane myself. My dad and stepmother there in Hurricane Opal, October 5th, 1995. So yeah, definitely in hurricane seasons. Definitely thinking about the people down in Florida. Looks like they're off to a really fast start in the digging out there of that hurricane. Going to talk to John McGroff, better known as Mac, and I'll get to Mac that here in just a second. Here he'll be on in about 13 minutes or so. I'm gonna ask him my theory on John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. Harbaugh seemed to be coaching scared, and see what he thinks about possibly him being on the hot seat, maybe getting canned this year with Jackson's big contract not signed. We'll see what John Mac thinks about that, and I'll get his take on the Giants and their 3-1 start, and we will. I'll ask him a little bit about his background. I've worked with Mac for 3 years, and on this program, his wife recruited me to help, work on a podcast together and everything. So we'll ask about that. I'll ask him about it, and go over some of the things. But first, hey, 1998. I remember it very well, like it was yesterday. It was 4 years from the 94 strike. I could not believe it. And the 1994 strike in I want to say I was in like 5th or 6th grade, and there was no World Series. They started mid-season baseball. If you recall, Pickles in 95, the Braves finally got off the schneid. They won, but the ratings were way down. Ratings were down for years. It really ticked people off canceling the World Series like that, In 94, I remember Ken Griffey Jr. having a great year. The Montreal Expos with Randy Johnson. They had a really good shot to win the World Series there in that 94 team. But this 1998 home run chase between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, both shattering the 61 home run single season record held by Roger Maris that had been intact since 1961, right? And it's 61 years later that the record really gets broken. So, it was a heck of a chase. I remember pulling for McGwire more because I had more baseball cards at the time. I want to say I had McGwire's rookie card when he hit, I think he got hit like 47 in 1987. And, it was really just, I mean, game by game, I was talking about it the next day in school with friends. Hey, man, he just hit his 56, 57, 58. I mean, it was numbers and numbers for McGwire and Sosa. Sosa kind of cooled off at the end. Had 66. McGwire gets 70. I want to say 70 home runs. And his nickname was the Big Mac. The Big Mac when he played for the St. Louis Cardinals at the time. Only did he be broken in just a awesome season. The 3 years later, Barry Bonds hits his three extra home runs there. I want to say in 2001, and Bonds later on goes and hits the home run as the all-time home run leader. He's the single season and the all-time home run leader. And then everything starts to go downhill when you have the steroid era. And this is what I talked about the other day on the program last week when it technically was not 62. It was technically not 62. And the adage that I got then that I did not know now because we didn't have the research ability to go back and backtrack and see who's actually using PEDs, steroids, and whatnot. And we talked about this last week where you had the Mitchell report, you had the Jose Canseco book there that proved to be right. And then you had the Game of Shadows, the Balco, which goes directly into Barry Bonds, that book there. And then we have the famous line that the congressional testimony. Congress got to get involved. They feel left out, They feel useless, so they got to get involved in baseball, which I thought was ridiculous then. I still think it was ridiculous now. But like I said last week, the infamous Rafael Palmeiro in March of 2005 says, I have never used steroids. And then in August of that year, he gets suspended for testing positive for steroids. And, you know what happened to him? He got suspended 10 games. 10 games. And we have a star now, a star on the rise. Fernando Tatis Jr. from San Diego. This guy's 23 years old, signs a 14-year, $300 million contract, and he gets an 80-game suspension last year. Or was it this year? I think it was this year. Last year, he signed the big contract. There's a lot of talks over it. I'm not a big fan of these multi-year contracts like that that go over 10 years. And I've got a theory behind that. I'm going to ask, talk to Mac about when he comes up here. But, it says that the league is serious about it. There's been other big stars that's been suspended half a season. We know that. But that's the latest one, right? Now, because that was just this year. So the idea that the Major League Baseball is going to look the other way because of star test positive, that's just not true. Half the season's half the season. He was competing with the Dodgers. The Dodgers are starting to become a big national brand again because they got such a good team, and they were in a playoff hunt. So, and then we talked about, again, this idea that everybody was doing it is simply not true for that era. Let me add a few names that I did not mention last week. Greg Maddux, by the way, 18-time Gold Glove, Gold Gloves, 18 Gold Glove winner, 4 Cy Youngs, World Series winning pitcher, never linked to steroids. Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer of all time by a long shot. He's a first. I want to say that Rivera is the first and anonymous, totally unanimous vote getter for first ballot Hall of Fame. Yeah, Pickle says anyone signed 14 years. Yeah, and I don't even know about that, Pickles. I don't think anybody's ever signed up for it. I know that there's been some 10-year deals with Alex Rodriguez, which he was linked to. So we're talking guys like Rivera. I want to say Randy Johnson never come up in discussion. Power hitters like Frank Thomas, Ken Griffey Jr., Jim Thome, Jim Thome and Frank Thomas. They're both built about like Aaron Judge. He's a little bit taller. I heard he's like 6'7". You would think a guy that big would have too much of a strike zone that people would be able to get around him. But now we have analytics, and the analytics, they just swing towards the fences every single time. We don't need you to hit for average. But the guy's hitting for the Triple Crown. He's 4 points off the Triple Crown right now as far as batting average. He's in second in the American League. Got it in RBIs. He's got like a 20 home run lead in home runs. But as far as average, he's 4 little bitty points off. 4 little bitty points off there. Big guy. But he, if a lot of you historians recall, Frank Thomas hit for average too. And his nickname was the Big Hurt. He had some 40-plus home run years when he was with the White Sox. He actually had a shoe line out. I had a pair of them. The Reebok Big Hurts, black and white. They look good. They was White Sox colors. He was never linked to steroids. So this should be, and it is in my book. It is in my book that this is this 60. And Roger Maris Jr. says this should be recognized not just as the AL. Now, this is a big deal because he's got the AL record unfazed. All those guys played in the NL. But this should be, excuse me, folks. Those allergies bother me again today. But this should be the home run record. If you want to say something about those other records, that's fine. But yeah, they should have an asterisk about them. And Frank Thomas played football, block for Bo Jackson. So he's a big fullback. He's a big, tough guy. Much better baseball player than football player, I would imagine. He's a Hall of Famer in my book. I don't know if he's not already in. We know that Maddox is a first ballot guy. We know that, 18 gold gloves. I had to look that up. I had to cross-reference that. I couldn't believe Greg Maddux has won 18 gold gloves in his career, So I just think that people could say what they want to. And I noticed that Dusty Baker got a little bit irritated about it. But he said a whole lot of nothing. If I'm just reading this quote, and I didn't hear him say it, Dusty Baker. But Dusty Baker says, I don't care what people say. I was with Barry Bonds every day. If they want to put an asterisk by them, 73, that went over the fence, didn't have any asterisks by them. The fence didn't have any asterisks by them. I just, the idea, steroids, Mike Golick talked about the fact that they help you get over injuries faster. Well, if you're on the 10-day DL and you come back, I think the steroids are helping. So without any further delay there, that's perfect timing. I've got John McGraw, better known as Mac, here. Are you still getting those cease and desist letters from McDonald's, Mac?
Yeah, they're very particular about their patents, I guess, over there.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I was writing you today, and for some reason, I thought about of coming to America, McDowell's.
Yeah,
and Mr. McDowell's like, hey, those McDonald's people ain't out there again, are they? He's like, no, sir, no.
Well, how you doing tonight, Robert?
Man, I'm good. I'm just ranting and raving about Pickle says, hey, Mr. Mac.
Hey.
I'm ranting and raving about this Aaron Judge. I mean, this is the biggest story in the sports world, and I'm a big football guy. It's got me excited. Mac.
Sure.
And my rant is this idea. Let's go back to 2005. We're having Congress investigation. We're having Rafael Palmeiro saying I didn't use steroids, pointing his finger at the camera, only to be 6 months later to get suspended for using steroids.
Right.
But this idea that everybody is using it was simply not true, Mac. I brought up some names earlier. Players like Greg Maddux. You're a Yankee fan, right? You've got guys like Mariano Rivera, never linked to steroids. Derek Jeter, Frank Thomas, Ken Griffey Jr. Big. These are first ballot Hall of Famer guys. Never linked to steroids. I had to go back and cross-reference a few articles to make sure I wasn't just assuming that these guys were linked to steroids. So my thing is, this should be recognized. And Roger Maris Jr., he's already came public and says this should be recognized not just as the AL record, but the overall major league record, because everybody wasn't using steroids. What's your thought about Aaron Judge hitting 62? Is that the record in your mind?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. There. I mean, listen, 62 home runs is unbelievable. It's a historic event. And, besides Pujols hitting 702, I mean, it's the biggest story there is.
Yeah. I was just curious about that. Now, I want to say I had Larry Frank on, and he's saying, well, it doesn't help your eye-hand coordination and all this stuff. But my thing is, a lot of the former football guys like Mike Golick from Mike and Mike, he says it helps you get over injuries quicker.
Sure.
Well, if you're on the 10-day DL and it's not extended because you're air quote taking steroids, there's your advantage right there. You get more games to play where you get more of an opportunity to hit a home run.
Oh, no doubt. And Aaron Judge has shown us that, right? I mean, the man is on fire this year. So anybody that thinks that's not the real record, who wants to say Barry Bonds or Sosa or McGuire, they were all on steroids. We all know it. That's why they're not in the Hall of Fame. And with what Aaron Judge is doing right now is unbelievable.
Yeah, and the fact that I looked this up before I got on the program. He's 4 points away from leading in the average to get the Triple Crown as well, Mac.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 4 points away. I think he's at 311. And
some guy from Minnesota's like 315 or something.
Right. So I mean, here's a guy that not only is popping the home runs out, but is hitting for average too, which is normally not done, right? I know normally you hit for home runs and your batting average is very low because you're swinging for the fence and you're striking out. But Aaron Judge has carried this team, Robert. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
and my thing is about that, Mac, is he's built like a remember Frank Thomas was a great average hitter.
Yeah.
Back in 93, 95. I was a kid there, about 12, 13 years old. I had the big Hurt tennis shoes, the Reeboks. And I love watching WGN when every bat I had. He's a big, powerful guy. Sometimes he'd hit 330, 340, and 40 home runs. Yeah. And he was built like Judge. So it looks pretty Jim Thome, another guy, Mac, never linked to steroids. They have the build, so it feels natural is my point.
Right. And Dave Winfield's another one, Robert, right? I mean, he had power, plus he's a great fielder, and he could hit the ball. So, I mean, there's another one that you could say is up there with them.
Yeah, these Barry Bonds lovers. I grew up with a guy, he's a big Barry Bonds guy. And I say, I like Bonds. I know that he's a great fielder. He's probably a Hall of Famer even before he took the steroids. But, I would listen to a lot of these interviews, Mac, with the guys are done with playing the game. Back in their locker room or whatever. You would have a Roger Clemens or a Jose Canseco. And these guys are breathing like they just ran a 400-meter race, and the game has been over with for 20 minutes, Mac.
Yeah.
You can hear the fact that they're pumped up on those roids, breathing like that, man.
Yeah, and that's what steroids does to you. In fact, it kills you. Look at Lyle Alzado, right, in football. Yeah. I mean, the guy died from steroids, and he was an unbelievable player for the Raiders.
Yeah. How about Cam Caminiti? How about that name
Yeah,
for you?
yeah,
For Texas Rangers.
yeah.
But Canseco was, he did need the money, and I understand he's kind of slimy way of doing it, but he was proven right in everything. But he didn't say quote everybody, but he named specific names,
Right.
including Palmeiro, and that's what ticked off Juan Gonzalez. Those guys got in it, of course, McGuire, but he never said anything about not Roger Clemens, Tomey, Maddox. He didn't say, he didn't paint broad brushes. That Mitchell report, the Senate thing. So, it is what it is. I just think that this is good for the game. You're adding the DH in the NL this year, or the DH this year. And I want to say next year they're going to be taking away shifting. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
So this is kind of a good comeback, other than shortening the season. That's
Right.
my only. I know they're greedy owners. They want to play that 162, but
Of course.
I think this is a big thing. Max.
Robert, I'm not really a big supporter of the shift. I think that it hinders them from hitting base hits because everybody's on one side of the field.
Yeah.
But I guess we're going to go with it, and we'll see where it lands. I hope that they change their minds, but they're not going to.
Yeah, and I know that's the last one to get, and then the pitch clock and all that. I would love to do away with the shift, and I want to bring back base hits. And you're right, this is even that much more in this analytics-driven league that Judge has got 311. Now, I talked about on your show, you asked me, this was 6-7 months ago, back when we were in spring training. You were asking me about this $30 million contract a year. He turned down 7 years, $30 million per year. It's like 200 something plus. He turns that down. They work out this arbitration for this season. And I have this theory, and I think we talked about it on your program, but I'm going to bring it up now, that, when I look up fantasy football players to be drafted, and I've been doing this for 15 years, fantasy football, you have a list of players, Mac, that say players on contract years.
Right.
So you're going to get more out of this player on contract years. My thing is, why don't you just sign, especially a team like the Yankees, they can afford it, sign these players to like 3 years, say pay, I'm just throwing a number out there, $45 million, something so he can take to his agent to keep these players on the edge so they'll play at high octane levels for shorter period of times. So they're playing for the next contract. What's your theory about shorter contracts, more money, but shorter contracts just to get better play?
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, when you're at that contract meeting with your agent, that $45 million is better than drawing out 10 years, right? Because we know after 5 of those years, his average is going down, his home runs are going to go down a little bit. So that to me is the best way to go. I don't think there should be opt-outs either. I hate opt-outs either way, because if you're only gonna play 1 year for me, I don't want you. I want somebody who's going to be there for the full contract, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guy in football here, Albert Hainsworth. He played on a franchise tag. I mean, his weight was down, Mac. He was doing fantastic. He even played better in his franchise year than he did in his contract year.
Yeah.
And then Dan Snyder over there in Washington backs up a Brinks truck for $117 million. It's like 60 something. It was the most ever for a defensive player. And he was awful. They changed the scheme, and he just got totally out of shape. They all of a sudden, they take longer to come back from injury. Did you notice that Fernando Tatis, by the way, I know he got suspended, but, he was kind of taking his time coming back from that injury. 14 years, Mac, with 23 years old. And then he gets suspended for 80 games for PEDs.
Yeah. I mean, how dumb is that, Robert?
I know.
We already know that they're testing for you all the time for that stuff, that it's you just don't do that in baseball at all. So, I mean, I guess maybe it's youth, Robert. I think that they think they can beat the system, and you just can't.
Yeah. Well, he's got that 14 years. He's like, I can get relaxed here. I can take my time. Heck, I could even use PEDs.
Right.
They still owe me 300 something $million. What do I have to look forward to? People don't look at the psychological. Everybody looks at the numbers and numbers. We are all human. We want to work towards goals and accomplish those goals in shorter periods of time. Hey, when I get 36 years old, I'm going to try to do a lot better. But between now and then, I don't know what I'm working for here. I'm making $35-45 million a year for the next 10, 12 years. I mean, they don't look at that type of, my point is, and Jack didn't agree with it. I think if they give him a 10-year deal, I don't think he's going for the Triple Crown this year.
I agree.
Aaron Judge.
I agree with you, Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Jack is Jack. We know that.
He's pro play. He's like an agent, ain't he?
Oh my God, he should be. Yeah, listen. I mean, that's the best route you can go as a player and as a team. That you're paying that shorter contract for the most money they can get, and you know what I think they need, Robert. I think like in football. I think they need mentors, right? I think they need somebody there to kind of guide them through the problems they're going to have, the off field. I mean, we don't realize how hard it is to be a sports player in today's society, because we all think, they make plenty of money, so what are they crying about? Well, they're crying because it's exhausting. It's exhausting for them out there. Right now.
And Jim would say that they do that in Dallas. You got security and everything.
Yeah, right. And I don't know if you saw it, but he got Legends of the Game. He was what I want to say. He was celebrated.
He get another award?
Yeah, he was celebrated for being one of the Legends of the Game. So congratulations to Jim.
Jeff Cole. Yeah, he's on your show now. You guys have a program. I know it is. Is it 8 a.m. Eastern to 10 on Sundays?
Yes.
And what is your other show dates, start times?
They're all the same, Robert. They're all the same.
Okay. For Saturday,
right?
Is it 5 days a week still?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So
Wednesday through Saturday or whatnot. Okay, gotcha.
It's really only 4 days.
4 days. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a lot of fun. Me and Jack, our niche, of course, is to rib each other, which we're really best friends off the air. But we have a lot of fun. We have great guests like you on there, and
appreciate it.
No problem. And I just we've been doing it for a year now, and I hope it goes on a lot longer than that.
Yeah. I was going to ask you. Let me get into that. So what? You said you coach football, right? Did you coach the high school level?
Yes.
Okay. Did you play football high school?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
What position did you play?
I played quarterback and strong safety.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're from the Connecticut. What part of Connecticut?
I'm up by Bradley International Airport in a town called Windsor Locks.
Is that where you grew up, Mac?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you played high school. When did you get into coaching?
I got into coaching right after I watched them get killed. I think it was 60-0, where they were playing. My son was playing, and after that, I volunteered. I started on defense, and then became head coach, and then head coach, and then head coach of the whole town.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
it was.
Yeah.
Great.
So how long did you teach? What did you teach? History. A lot of coaches love history.
No. I wasn't in the education department at all. But again, I tried to show the kids, that the same rules in life are the same in football, right? You get knocked down, you got to get up. You got to keep trying all the time. You got to be a good winner as well as a good loser. And they see me on the street today, Robert. They say, "Hey, how you doing, Coach?" So it's
How long did you do that?
Oh, I coached for 1, 2, 3. I think it was 10 years, Robert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun.
And I understand you got into the restaurant business after that, or?
Yeah, I was always in the restaurant business. I mean,
Oh, okay. It's just a part-time. Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
my dad was a chef. I became a cook, and
Okay.
now I'm a pizza chef over at the La Fagata.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I was thinking, man, Mac, he really knows a lot about football, man. I didn't know if you played college, you know?
No, I mean, I tried to get in.
Semi-pro.
No, I tried to get in as a coach at Central Connecticut. I showed them what I knew and that, but it never came through. So it was high school.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I've complimented you all how fast your network is growing here on Northeast Streaming. What made you want to start a podcast?
Well, I was in the fan groups. A guy named Jim LeBruno was looking for a partner, so
Okay.
I went ahead and I joined his show. He kind of didn't know what he wanted to do. He wanted a network. He didn't want a network. He wanted to do this. He wanted to do that. So he was confused on what he wanted to do. So I took what I learned from him, applied it to what we have now, and it just took off.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was not. Was that the guy that you told me a while back that he didn't want to do the show on 9/11, but he didn't tell you ahead of time?
Yeah. He wanted to do a moment of silence, which I agreed with, but I wanted to, as sort of a tribute to them, I wanted to go ahead and do the show, and he got all ticked off, and that was that. So.
Well, you started your own thing, and this blossomed.
Yeah, it did. It blossomed very quickly. Again, with you and Keith and Pags and Jack and me, we've really got something really good here. And like I said, I hope it continues on for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And Linda reaching out like that. Did she just go on Facebook and start looking through sports shows?
Yeah.
She's a go-getter, man.
Oh my God, is she? Yeah, she's a heck of a researcher. She found you, Jack, Keith, everyone. And I'm glad she's running things over here. I kind of go do things, and she kind of says, relax, Mac, take it easy. So
yeah,
it works out.
I thought that you had known Jack for 20 years. I mean, you guys. I mean, y'all so back and forth. I'm like, dang, I guess they grew up together. I'm not from the same region,
Yeah. He's from New York. I'm from Connecticut. My dad was from Brooklyn, so we got a tie in there. Listen, this guy knows more about sports than anybody I know. I mean, he lived it.
That's no exaggeration, audience. I've had him twice on he's like encyclopedia. I'm like, how do you keep up with all those games, man? What do you got, like Pete Rose? You got like 5 TVs going?
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's unbelievable. I'm so glad that we kind of found each other, and he came on to the LeBruno show with me, and he just took over the show. I mean, we just sat back and just looked at each other, and he just carried on the whole show for the whole hour. So, hi, Carlos, how you doing?
Pickle says they're like Johnny Carson, Ed McMahon.
Yeah,
you guys are funny, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are funny. So now you grew up, understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're a Giants fan, New York Giants through and through.
Big time.
Okay, they're 3-1 this year. My preseason prediction for the Giants was 8-9.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at Daniel Jones. By the way, he's got another ankle injury. This is his third. He hasn't played 16 games or 17 games his whole career. I kind of like what your coach is doing. I like the general manager. They both come from Buffalo. What's your my fear is that the Giants are going to be good enough, too good to get a high draft pick, and they're not going to be good enough to go far in the playoffs. Are you worried about that for the Giants?
Not at all. I think that the team they have right now, the coach is unbelievable, has a great working relationship with the GM. Saquon is just running like he's on fire. And Daniel Jones, of course, is guiding him to 3 wins. And he's running with the ball really well. He's got a couple touchdowns last game.
Yeah.
And he's throwing the ball well too, Robert. I mean, he's been hit a lot, that guy. I don't know how he gets back up.
Yeah.
From Dallas beat the living crap out of him. He just
They did.
he
And
just
then they won against the Bears. Bears got a good defense.
yeah,
They're good
yeah.
up front, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they went ahead and they beat the Bears. It was
Carlos trying to troll here. Don't it feel relaxed? You got the same names you got on your Sunday show.
yeah, I
We're
see.
just doing it on Wednesday, man.
Yeah, hey, listen, we got a loyal following, and we appreciate all the support they give us. I mean, I tune in different shows, and they're all there. So thank you. You're the ones that make this network work. It's it's your network. So yeah.
you're okay with you think that how far do you think the Giants can go this year?
I really don't know. I make fun. I say to Jim, I said we're going to the Super Bowl this year, but I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very competitive. They pull out the close games, which is very important. You got to learn how to win, which a lot of people don't understand that. But it's very important to learn how to win because anything can happen. And their defense looks really strong. Great coaching staff.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't say enough about them this year. So I'm really proud to be a Giants fan this year.
Yeah, I could not. I want to say Leonard Williams, wasn't he out Sunday with the injury?
Yes,
and you guys still won.
Yeah,
over the Bears.
Yeah,
and Thibodeau, is he back 100% or is he even playing yet?
Yeah, he's 100%. He's doing really well. Jack thought he would be an average player, but I don't know. Sometimes he drinks a lot. What can I tell you? But he's really playing really well. And I would love to see them at least finish in the top 2 of the NFC East and go from there. So.
Oh, okay. So you think they can get past the Dallas or Philadelphia? I mean, the season's young.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. They're very talented teams, but it's football. Anybody's got a shot. And what is Carlos talking about? Bortles.
Blake Bortles retired today. He's trying to be. He's trolling.
Okay.
Switching gears here. All right, Mac. Now, I had kind of a rant on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
John Harbaugh. I'm not a big Lamar Jackson. I like his work ethic. Mm-hmm. I like his attitude, and that goes a long way in the NFL. That goes a long way in football. But they blew another big lead on Sunday, 17 points. John Harbaugh, just hear me out here. 4 minutes and 15 seconds left in the second half. Mind you, Mac, they haven't scored a point in the second half, the Ravens.
Right.
They're up 20-3 at halftime. Buffalo, it was raining up there, a lot of rain. Buffalo comes storming back. It's 2020. The Ravens have it on their 2-yard line. They go all the way down. 4 minutes to go. That's the farthest they've been down. They got the best kicker in the game, the Ravens, and he decides to go for it. And Lamar throws an interception. My theory is this is the second time in 3 weeks. He is too afraid to have Lamar get in any kind of situation where he has to throw to win.
Right.
And instead of just kicking that field goal, Mac, and thinking that you can't stop or even hold him to a 2-minute drive, Josh Allen, and come back and have an opportunity to win it. He does not want to be in a situation where Lamar has to throw so much. So my thing is he's coaching scared, Mac. Yeah. He's coaching a scared, and I think he's going to be on the hot seat, and he could very well be a coach that gets fired that nobody sees is going to get fired. He was a little bit on the hot seat before Lamar took over, and for respect for Lamar, Joe Flacco, he went a little flat after he signed his big contract after the 2012 Super Bowl.
Right.
What do you think about John Harbaugh? Is he coaching scared in your opinion? And do you think maybe he may be on the hot seat because of the lack of the passing attack from Lamar Jackson?
Well, there's no question he's on a hot seat. I really don't know what happened to him. I mean, he's a great coach, and he had great teams. You as a coach, you've got to believe in your players. That way, your players believe in you. And if you're going to run scared, during a game, And let's face it, Lamar Jackson is not a passer. I know Carlos says he's great, but he is not a passing quarterback. He's a running quarterback, and probably the best that's ever been. The guy is fast. He's strong. He does have a strong arm when he does use it. I really believe that John Harbaugh, as you said, is on the hot seat. I think that, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say anymore about John Harbaugh, except that at one time, great coach. Now he's teetering.
Yeah, he was a special teams coach. Mac, they've got 4 or 5 Pro Bowlers on their defense.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Now, he's saying, well, if we miss it there, they've got 98 yards. But I'm like, Coach, it's tied. You haven't scored in the second half. This is the best drive of the game in the second half that they had. Plus, Lamar, by the way, this will stat will really blow your mind. 20 passing yards in the second half.
Wow.
And the rain kind of teetered off there too.
Yeah.
And
Carlos asks, is this a Lamar issue or a Harbaugh issue? It's both their issues, right?
Really.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Lamar, again, a great leader, MVP, could possibly take that team to the Super Bowl this year if everything worked out right for them. And Harbaugh, also a great coach. Him and his brother went at it in the Super Bowl, and the lights went out in Georgia there, and the Ravens came back. Listen, in football, you got to be decisive. You got to be confident. You've got to feel that confidence. Your players got to feel you're confident in them, or you're not going to go anywhere in the NFL.
Yeah, I've said the same thing about these coaches are so afraid of these potent offenses that we had a guy here in the college game, University of Tennessee. Now, they beat Florida. Florida has beaten them, 5 straight, 16 out of 17 in a college game.
Right.
But this year, Tennessee has the best offense in the country. This is how good they've played, Mac. They had the number 1 offense in the country today, and they had last week off, and everybody else in the country played last week. Wow. And statistically, even with ESPN's updated stats, they still have the best offense in the country. And this coach for Florida 2 weeks ago, Mac, he goes for 4th down 6 times because he is so afraid of trying to keep up with this guy. And it reminded me of John Harbaugh. I mean, he's lost these 2 here. And, Lamar, you hear the national media, they're pumping him up. Robert Griffin saying he could be the greatest of all time. I'm thinking he hasn't won. Have you seen Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah. College football to me, this is one of the best years I've ever seen by far. They're all playing great ball. Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Clemson, you name them. They're all playing great ball. Even the smaller schools, Robert. Appalachian State is playing unbelievable.
Oh, did you get a chance to watch that? Man.
Unreal. I mean, this team has upset the biggest schools for a long time, and they're finally getting their due. I'm very excited about college football this year. Notre Dame has even found a quarterback, believe it or not, and they're looking pretty good right now. So it's going to be a great season, Robert.
Yeah, and it seems like that the coaches that they're so afraid of these offenses that they're trying to play keep up rather than trying to take the air out of the building and run the ball.
Yeah,
it seems like Wake Forest. Who would have ever thought Wake Forest? Wake Forest 2 weeks ago puts 45 points on Clemson. Clemson's got at least 5 NFL players on defense, man.
Yeah. And glad you mentioned defense too, because the defenses of these teams, Georgia, Alabama, I mean, Ohio State, these guys are animals. And they're stopping the offenses on 4th and short, goal line stances. I mean, they're playing some awesome ball this year.
Yeah, and Wake Forest. So the very next week, I'm thinking, because I'm starting to wager some a little bit. I go to church on Sunday, wager on Saturday. I'm sorry, Lord forgive me. I'm not even Catholic, right? But I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's no way Wake Forest is going to play this good 2 weeks in a row. Big game, going overtime, 6 touchdowns against that great Clemson defense. They go on the road the very next week to Florida State. Florida State's got at least 2 or 3 NFL guys on defense.
Sure.
They put 31 on Florida State and beat Florida State in Florida State. This is a good quarterback draft. That's why I was asking you, what is your tense? What do you think about a guy like Daniel Jones? If one of these guys is available and you guys are like 8 and 9, do you go out and draft one of these quarterbacks?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Daniel Jones is a very good quarterback. He's not a franchise quarterback. You can get one of these guys coming in there. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball, and they will be your franchise quarterback of the future. I think if Daniel Jones has a rough patch this year, they're going to get their quarterback, and the Giants will be better off for it.
Yeah. I don't know if I got your take on this Cooper Rush phenomenon. Although Jim does not agree with me. He does not agree. And then I found out he kisses babies in the stadium and he works for Dallas, so he can't get too controversial. He came on here a couple of weeks ago and told me that. Okay. Yeah. No wonder you like Mr. Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I was reading the QBR rankings. I'm doing 5 days a week now, so I'm reading all kinds of stuff, And Cooper Rush is in the category of Patrick Mahomes. This is QBR rating.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen types. He's like 4th. Tua's up there. 4th in QBR rating. Okay. Dak Prescott is 12 and 24 against playoff teams. Okay. Yeah. He's 4-0. Cooper Rush is 4-0 as a starter. They are running the ball on an average, Mac, 6 more rushing attempts per game, which tells me that he's converting third down. Cooper Rush is.
Right.
I brought this up to what did I bring this up to? I think it was up to Keith. I brought this up to Keith. Back in 2001, March of 2001, the Patriots signed Drew Bledsoe to a 10-year, $100 million contract. So this whole idea, we know what happened in 01 that year. The 6th-round pick beats him out. The rest is history. Tom Brady is born. Only thing that could be holding him back is the money. If Cooper Rush wins Sunday, and that's what it looks like, at the Rams, which I think they can, they're 4-point underdogs.
Yeah.
Do you ride the hot hand?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Cooper Rush, and this is a very humble man. He took a very team-friendly salary the last time he came up with it. This time he's not. This time he's going to go get his money. Cooper Rush is the best receiver in the league, and that's something to say with all the great wide receivers out there. This guy is big. He's strong. He's fast for his size. I mean, his hands are like glue. Cooper Rush is going to help. He helps the running game because they got to cover him. He helps the other receivers out. I don't know if they go to the Super Bowl this year or not, but Cooper Rush it's not going to be Cooper Rush's fault, Robert.
Yeah, so you would play Rush at quarterback, and if soon I'm saying if Dak's finger's fine, he's gripping the ball, he's practicing, you stay with Rush.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I mean, Jim would freak out if you said
I know. Listen, Cooper Rush is a second-string quarterback. We all know that. He knows that. He's not better than Dak, but he's a great manager of the game. He makes the throws when he has to. The other players, the other players kind of rally around him because he's an underdog, Robert. We all love underdogs. Yeah. So Cooper Rush, it's his job until Dak gets back. There's no controversy. I don't know what they're talking about in Dallas, but there's no.
What if he beats the Rams and he beats Philadelphia?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's what he's getting paid to do. But he's not going to take over the team. There's no way of that. We all know that.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, Jerry Jones will be 80 next week.
Right.
And he's not getting any younger. He knows what he's paying Dak, and Dak's got his guaranteed money. I love Dak.
Yep.
But man, I don't know. I don't know if I don't ride that hot hand. And, even Jack brought this up a few weeks ago when this first started. I was halfway kidding, but now it's starting to pick up some momentum here that when Dak, remember, Tony Romo was hurt in the preseason that year.
Right.
This 4th-round pick comes in from preseason. They go in 13 games.
Right.
And go all the way. So, and then, of course, Romo's he moves on to CBS. So I don't think it's too crazy to keep this guy in.
I don't either. I mean, listen, Tony Romo was a good quarterback. That's what he was. He wasn't a Super Bowl quarterback by any means. I don't think Dak is either. I think Dak is an electric player that can run, pass the ball. Lot of leadership and confidence. I don't think Dallas doesn't even see the Super Bowl for a while yet. I mean, listen, you got what you got. Cooper's doing a good job right now. He deserves a lot of praise for what he's doing. And I know Dak's not sweating it. He's smiling at what Cooper's doing. Yeah, but without Dak, the Cowboys don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think Dak, he's got his guaranteed money. I think about last year when he got hurt, and he comes back. If you recall that Denver game, they were totally blown out in that game after that. I'm curious of what, and you know what? Here's another theory. I think that the offensive coordinator, who's it, Kellen Moore or whatever?
Yeah.
He's too pass happy when Dak is in.
Yeah.
Instead of sticking with the run.
Sure. And
they start to get down early, and then they panic, and then you have a situation like when they played Denver or when they played the 49ers. Remember Thanksgiving last year against the Raiders, who was not even good on either side of the ball, goes up there in their backyard and beats them. I think they got too pass happy in that game, and the Raiders end up beating them.
Yeah.
That could be part of it as well.
I mean, offensive coordinators are a strange bunch. They outcoach the team a lot of times. Way too complex.
Yeah.
It's football. It's not rocket science. I think they got too pass happy. I would love to see them kind of go 50-50, right, Robert? I mean, run 50% of the time, throw 50% of the time, and Dallas will be a lot more successful. Yeah.
Last question. I'll let you go here, man. Thank you, Mac. I appreciate you coming on, by the way.
I love it, Rob. I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. Now, I did my Power 5, and I got a little pushback here, a little bit. Now, this just 4 weeks in.
Right.
But my thing is I've got Philadelphia. I know Pags won't like this. I've got them at 3 behind a Kansas City, by the way. 30 passes, 30 rushes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect last week. And Buffalo at number 2. Would you put a Philadelphia? Because I think that Kansas City or Buffalo would be favored over Philadelphia if they were playing today.
Sure. Now, Philadelphia's got a good team. They got a lot of talent, but they're nowhere close to being the number 1 team in the league. They're not even – they can't even smell it right now, Robert. I mean, listen, the amount of progress Hurts has made has been amazing, surprised me.
Me too,
Their running game is great with Sanders and that big offensive line. Their defense tears the other offenses up. But there is no way, and I don't care what Pags thinks, that the Eagles are the best team in football. Not even close.
Yeah, I mean, because, ESPN's got them at number 1. Pro Football Talk has got them at number 1. I understand the offensive line rankings and stuff like that, but Hurts has got 4 touchdowns and 4 through the whole season.
Right.
So it's all about schemes and running game and fluke turnovers on defense. They're a really good team, but I don't know if they're in the Kansas City league.
Not even close. And we just talked about balance, right? There's no balance there at all. I mean, they're throwing the ball. They're more than they're running the ball. And with a team like that, with that offensive line, you should be running the ball a lot more than they do.
And he's running the ball a lot himself.
Oh, yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah.
I think he's a little better than a Lamar Jackson, but I'm not ready to put him in a Kyler Murray. Now, Jim, he says Kyler Murray's a big me guy and everything, but I watched Kyler Murray Sunday. I had an epiphany with him. I had a moment with Kyler Murray Sunday against Carolina. He's going through his reads. He's on like his fourth read there, and he makes the throw. And you know what? They go all the way across the country, and they beat Carolina late in Carolina. 2 late touchdowns. Yeah. You look at the comeback against the Raiders. I know he's 5'0", 100, but that's how you win big in here. And this league is throwing the ball, not running the ball as a quarterback.
Yeah, and, Kyler Murray has finally grown up, right? I mean, he was this me guy, what I can do, and I'm the team. He's finally grown up and realized that he needs that team to win. Again, great offensive line, good defense, good running game. The Cardinals are going to raise a little cane, but again, I think they fall short.
Do you who do you like? I know it's early. It's only Wednesday. They play each other in Arizona on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Arizona at home. I have to check the injury report, but I think Kyler may get the best. They both transferred to Oklahoma and played under Lincoln Riley.
Right. Yeah, I give Arizona edge too. Hurts, who's a lot bigger than Kyler, but Kyler is more dynamic, right? He's faster. I think he's got a bigger arm. In fact, I know he has a bigger arm than Hurts does. So I definitely going to give Kyler Murray the edge in this game.
Oh, okay. I know it's early. Well, hey man, thanks again. Are you going to be on Sunday?
Of course. And so
okay. Well, I didn't know if you may have had some help there. I just can't. Yeah. Man, what are we going to do with Pags? It's 2 hours behind times over there in Arizona. It's going to be dark out
there. Pags will find his way through somehow. I mean,
he'll probably be in some motel. He'll probably be in a hotel room or something.
Probably will. And probably
that game is not going to be until later on in the afternoon.
Right. And probably drink a good bourbon too, Robert. So,
yeah. Hey, tell Linda I really appreciate her help with everything,
no problem,
marketing and everything, and appreciate you, Mac.
Thank you very much. And she says thank you too,
Robert.
And all just right, man. Quick note, Roku's up to 1,600 now. So we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
And, tell her I'm sorry about not sharing lately. Now, I did put my show on this past Wednesday, but if you guys need me to put together something another time or something, because I'm on 5 days a week now.
Right.
Yeah.
You
let me know.
Yeah, you're fine, Robbie. You're doing a great job as always.
Okay. Well, just whenever, something like that. If you want me to put it on more times, or if you need to charge a little bit more, that's okay too.
Worry.
I mean, that's okay.
I hear you. Don't worry about nothing, Robert. Keep up the game.
1,600. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you this before I let you go. My aunt called me the other day, and she said she saw me on Roku TV. So I want to thank you for that. I haven't got all the TV and all that stuff done yet, man.
Right. Okay, cool.
Man, I'm cutting down on stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and you're looking sharp as ever on Roku.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome, buddy. So everyone out there, again, thanks for supporting the network. Like I said, it's your network, and we love that you're loyal to our network. So thank you all out there. And Robert, again, thank you for the great job that you do.
All right. Thanks, Mac. Appreciate it.
Take care, my friend.
Have a good one, buddy. All right, guys, I'm back now, and just want to make some announcements. I will have Jack Hirsch on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time. Jamie's Lobby and Hardcore. What Carlos says, bravo, Mr. Mac. Philly is better on both sides of the ball. Yeah, they're better offensive line, defensive. Well, that's a push. The pass rush, if Watt plays, I want to say they got another defensive end there. I haven't broke that game down. Carlos, we will. Corey, my bad. I shouldn't have got that. Carlos, we will break that one down. Put that in your repertoire. Friday with Mad New Yorker. 7 p.m. Central Time. We are going to definitely be breaking down Philadelphia at Arizona. I haven't even checked the points. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think that Philadelphia is 5.5-point favorites on the road. That's a good number to give Arizona. Philly's going to have a lot of fans there. They'll be going for 5-0. I think that's the last time that they went to the Super Bowl back in 2017 for that particular game, that particular year. I want to say they went 5-0, but I have to go back and check on that to see how that one is playing out, everybody. But that is going to be probably the game of the week. Again, probably another Philadelphia game. I haven't looked at all the games, but I do know that teams like the college has got a big week too. You got Texas A&M and Alabama playing there, and you have Tennessee playing at LSU. We'll talk about those games in the college game, but yeah, that Arizona at home, against Philadelphia. This is another true road test for the Eagles here. This is one I might have to look. I may pick Philadelphia. There, but I did like what I seen out of Kyler Murray. These are two guys that both transferred to Oklahoma. They left their schools. Kyler, there was too many quarterbacks recruited to Texas A&M. He transferred. He turns out to be the better player than the guy that they transferred over at Texas A&M. And Jalen Hurts, obviously, he sincerely gets beat out by Tua at Alabama. They both transfer different times, of course. They're about a year apart, I want to say. Murray's a year older. Murray goes on, wins the Heisman, gets number 1 overall pick, and turns out, as of now, he seems like to be a better player. Jim Jeffcoat says he knows of both players. He thinks that Jalen's a better team guy and has better intangibles. So that's going to be a great game. Who would have thought Philadelphia and Arizona would be one of the biggest games of the week? But it is, other than maybe Dallas and, of course, the Rams. And I like Dallas. I like Dallas's chance there. So we'll see. Pickle says Roll Tide by 31. Possibly now, the Tide, they came off a big game. There was a road game at Arkansas, and plus we don't know if their starting quarterback is going to be back in. Bryce Young, maybe he's starting to be, there's some issues here with the whatchamacallit as well, with injury issues. He wasn't even hit and he got hurt. Kind of a small guy. Carolina don't have a chance in the NFC South. Yeah, Carlos, it's probably still, I know they didn't look great Sunday, but I still like Tampa to win that. I picked Tampa to win the South. Everybody was real high on New Orleans until I looked at it. I was not high on New Orleans after I broke down their schedule, and I'm proven to be right. So anyways, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Got a lot of fresh stuff. I'm going to ask Jack Hirsch about Zion Williamson. He's a big Zion Williamson guy. And Zion, talk a little NBA here, Corey. Zion is back. He looks lighter. He's doing really well in training camp, making a lot of big dunks. Jack said that he thinks that Zion Williamson, when he comes back this year, he said this about 6-7 months ago. I'm going to ask him, where does he think that they're going to finish now that guys like Kawhi Leonard's going to be back, Jamal Murray? So we're going to get into a little NBA talk tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to him about Aaron Judge as well. So thank you for watching the program, guys. I'll be back on same place, same time tomorrow. Pickle says he's lost a ton of weight. Yes, Zion looks good, and I hope the best for Zion. So remember, he came in with Ja Morant. So he should be ready to be able to handle the NBA life at this point. They were drafted in the same class. So have a good one, everybody. See you tomorrow, same place, same time here on Sports Scope.